that warrants a unique set of guidelines and rules, which is what a district sign plan is. The sign code itself lives in the Denver zoning code that applies to the whole city. It was written in the 50s. Brad and I, when we were at community planning and development, tried every year to update it and just never got around to it. And so it's just not built for what this campus wants to be in the future, and it's very limiting in the number of signs size of those signs, location, things of that nature. For example, you cannot have a full motion video as a sign. It's just prohibited, period. It can only change every 90 seconds, which is, we are building an entertainment facility and it seems fairly limiting. Sponsorship opportunities also is prohibited by the current code, where, we could have a digital sign that is sponsored by, you name it, sponsor that we may partner with in the future. We have a number of donor-funded naming rights and signage on buildings all over the campus, and because of that, there are a lot of signs. There are the big building signs, but all the way down to small plaques and flagpoles and a long list of donors that built the flagpole, and all of these little signs add up and exceed what we're allowed to do. And so all these are reasons why the current code does not work and why we need a district sign plan. Couple more. Wayfinding is a massive campus. We will have big wayfinding signage, which again will exceed our number of signs. And then event related signage. Typically the city does not mind if you have a yard sign or a banner for a couple of weeks, but then they start to care if it's there for like 3 weeks versus 2 weeks, as an example. We have events that may be here for 6 months. And so we need a little bit more flexibility around that temporary signage, and that flexes a little bit with out there. So previous zoning efforts, when I was at the city, I rezoned this property in 2015. I left the city in 2019, but prior to leaving, worked on updating the zone districts out here, and also created the enabling language that lives in the zoning code itself. This presentation is going downhill quickly. I'm actually going to pull up the zoning code and show you some of that language. But then after that, yes, after that, we're going to get into.
You want to know A or B?
We're going to go into some text, but then there will be some images. And so I will say that the city council approved the text amendment that enabled this language. So we went through a pretty massive process, worked with the community, defined with the CAC and through other community efforts, define what kind of the parameters to work within. So here we go. We're going downhill. The intent. Yeah, so intent. I'm not going to show you all the language in the zoning code, but this is the intent to allow flexibility in size, type, location of signs. That may include creative, artistic signs, special lighting elements, self-illuminated signs, signs integrated in one or more features, non-standard or one-of-a-kind advertising opportunities, signs infused with art. All of this is with the intent of furthering the master plan and the mission and vision of the campus. A coordinated program of signage, as opposed to one building doing a sign that looks totally different than the building next to it. A coordinated campus-wide approach is what the district sign plan can accomplish. And then most importantly, mitigating possible adverse impacts. So, these are potential digital signs that have a luminance to them that could be distracting. Limiting that luminance and those lights to the external community was a big part of this language, and that's why you're seeing it here. All right, we're going in a little deeper. The review criteria, because this has to go to planning board for approval, this sign plan. This is the criteria that planning board uses to approve a district sign plan. There's a lot here, but I think it highlights that minimizing external effects and realizing that vision So I'm not gonna read all of it, but that's really the, a comprehensive coordinated approach, fostering civic pride and beauty of the city. Which some of these are very subjective, but it gives planning board, a lot of power to say, the signage is too loud, or, tighten it up a little bit, things of that nature. And then the last one is really important, again, to not create material adverse impacts, motor vehicles, public roadways, and then there's number one above that is compatible with the character of the neighborhood's South Platte River corridor, and surrounding areas. So I wanted just that planning board has criteria that they will use to approve this. It's not if they like it or not. They have to follow this, and the plan has to meet the criteria in order to get their approval. Okay, so we're limiting the text in the next couple of slides, but wanted to show part of the requirement that the zoning requires for district design plans. It creates sub areas, and there are different requirements within those sub areas. Sub area A is that main plaza, and that is the highest intensity of signage. You can have the most signs in there. It is inward facing. It is internal to the campus itself. The other zones start to transition the intensity of signs and the number of signs, the size of the signs. So F is up our maintenance and operations. They're fairly limited signage in F. B starts to ramp up a little bit. That's the stockyards. A is the most intense area, and especially the plaza itself. There's also the water tower opportunity of signage on the water tower. C highlights CSU, subject to this plan, but state-owned facilities have a whole different set of zoning rules, which is always fun. D is the south side of Eddie Cram, it also starts to limit the number of signs and luminous level. And then E is very limited. That is the riverfront, and really trying to limit the number and size and luminous. So wanted to highlight some of the thinking here, and that the intensity is really at the core and epicenter of the campus for the direction of the zoning code. And then I also wanted to show some kind of sign types and material. So special lighting elements are really art, and essentially projecting art onto buildings, or sides of buildings. These could be, really nodes on the campus, gathering places. This could be public art, especially that really kind of rainbow colored one in the middle. Highlighting some of the digital wayfinding that folks may be familiar with. Some of this is actually downtown 16th Street Mall. Everything from projecting signs to gateway signs, so all types of signs are contemplated in this. It also prohibits certain sign types. So traditional billboards that you're seeing more on the left side of the slide, which it's explaining, sometimes these are called letter on a stick, but it's a stick and a billboard. And we need to be way more creative than that with digital signage and big signs and advertising. And then also on the right side, that gets more into the materials of, not to pick on Blockbuster, but that's a light behind canopy. Essentially, it's light behind fabric that it's just a lower quality. It doesn't hold up well to our climate here, and its light boxes are also kind of the other end of the spectrum. I'm sure it's so while it creates these boxes to play within, and it creates these requirements and allowances, it also prohibits certain sign types. Okay, so schedule, I just did a quick schedule here. This kind of shows that we introduced this topic back in May. We have since procured a sign plan consultant, Art House, that is helping us create this document. We will be working over the next several months to create the draft. We're well underway. We have met with the city to initiate this and discuss some initial comments, but there's a whole city commenting period, and then we go to planning board at a public hearing. The goal is to get there by November. So that's my last slide. Sorry for the text, the zoning code text, but any questions about the district sign plan? Any comments, input, things we should consider?
Angela has her hand raised.
Yes, Angela.
Thanks, Steve. I think you had a brief picture of the DNF tower on there. If we could do something like that, sign before that one. Yeah, over there in the corner, is that it? In the upper right-hand corner? Because the DNF tower downtown, I don't know if they still do it, but when I was working, they had they would put different pictures up on the DNF tower, and especially during Dia de los Muertos, they have things going up on the tower, and it changes. And it's rather mesmerizing, and I have to pay attention to what I'm doing, otherwise I miss my bus. But it's beautiful, and it'd be cool to be able to do that on the water tower. You
Oh, yeah,
know,
that's a
just
great
something
idea.
constantly changing. I think that would be really cool. And again, I'm a GES resident. I'm a Gloveville person. I'm gonna say if somewhere along some of those signs would highlight the neighborhood, I think that would be a wonderful thing. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Angela. I don't think that's the DNF tower, but, understand the comment, and that could be a real beacon, for the surrounding area to project light on it. as
One
holiday.
one of the things that I think is lacking in here is interactive message boards that function in real time. You know what I mean by that statement. You know, if I'm a tourist and I want to find out a bus or some type of public transportation is coming by, I should be able to walk up to a message board in real time and touch that board, and should be able to provide me a plethora of different types of public transportation that are available to me in terms of light rail, buses, or taxis, Uber, whatever it may be. So I believe we need to have some real-time interactive message boards to keep the residents, the tourists informed of what's going on in this vibrant situation.
Yeah, it's a great comment, Armando. Thanks for that. I will just say that this is just the plan. It allows us to do these things. Doing these things is a whole nother thing, and it requires partnership and money and capital dollars to build it. And part of that partnership is something that we'll discuss with this group and others. Any advertising that happens, that needs to happen on a big digital board, which costs money, there is a deal that will happen in the future that we will discuss. When it comes to, Angela, your comment on some kind of recognition for GES and the businesses in GES. That's something that we can negotiate through these deals in the future. For example, the theater district downtown, which has a similar plan, but it's more appropriate for the downtown setting. A portion of all revenue, for example, goes back into the theater district to fund theater programs, so that we can get creative when we get to negotiating deals down the road. This plan basically just enables that possibility for us.
We have one more item on the agenda.
Okay, sorry, Allison.
So, any other? It looks like we've gotten through all the comments. Thank you, Steve.
Just one quick comment. We will include your presentation on the website. So for all the CAC members and the task force, when I send the email that the recordings are on the website, we'll be sure to include the district sign presentation as well.
We have 2 more items on our agenda. Anthony, I think you wanted, I know you want to go over the stipend policy, and we're gonna pull that up so everybody could see it. We went out with the notice. We're inviting comment on the stipend policy, which I think you would like to begin to implement in July.
Yes, correct. So this has been a conversation, an internal conversation that's been happening over the at least since I arrived. Something that is important to the authority is to create a policy where we can provide a stipend for community members who attend our CAC meetings on a monthly basis. We began providing stipends to community members last summer when we hosted the community-wide meetings last June. And then again in April of this year, provided a $35 stipend for community members for their time. It was a Walmart gift card, but we're open to other creative ideas in terms of how we deliver that stipend. We're not able to provide cash. So what we did is, again, your time is valuable and we recognize and we want to honor that, your time that you're taking away from your family to attend these monthly meetings. So this is a policy that we want to begin in July. And we took, sort of the roles and responsibilities directly that's included in the stipend policy from the CAC roles and responsibilities that was voted on and approved by the CAC in February. And so it's, attending the meetings on a monthly basis, providing input, advising the staff regarding the needs, desires of the neighborhood, identifying potential opportunities, and address needs in the community, and then working to ensure that the National Western Center provides to the extent possible meaningful short-term and long-term benefits to the adjacent communities. And so to be eligible for a stipend, community members, they must attend 4 out of 6 meetings. So these stipends will be distributed on, I will track attendance of who attends the meetings, but in June of each year and December of each year, we will provide stipends to community members that attended at least 4 of the 6 meetings over the course of January to June, and obviously starting next month, July to December. The stipends will be $35 per meeting, and then again, we'll distribute them on a semi-annual basis in July and then a year end in December. The members for stipend purposes are defined as individuals who live in the community and limited to 1 stipend per household. And also of important note is attendees who attend based on their paid position with a community organization or a business are not eligible to receive a stipend. So that is the draft policy that we wanted to present tonight. Again, I emailed it last week so that you might have time to review it in advance of this evening's meeting. I did also include in the email if community members were not able to attend tonight's CAC meeting, if they had any thoughts, comments or concerns to email to me, and I did not receive any. So just wanted to open it up. Brad we didn't want to come with the policy and say, here it is. We know the importance of creating
for the process? Do they need to commit for X amount of months for sure, or what is the minimum stay that is required to be part of the committee?
It's a minimum of attending 4 out of the 6 meetings over that 6-month period. So attending 4 out of 6 meetings.
Perfect. So it's expected to end at 6 months. So it's more like a 6-month commitment, or
meetings, then they would receive stipend for those 8 meetings that they attended.
perfect. And I think what I'm trying to clarify is but it's a year commitment that we're seeking, kind of like when we ask people to be part of a board. Is it like a 3-year term or just a year term?
I don't think there's any terms.
There's
Yeah.
no term.
There's no terms. There's none.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, we had recording going, and then sorry, Fernando, all of a sudden we had these technical glitches happening. Sorry, weather.
Any other comments or questions? I can't see the screen. Did you see any? Stop sharing. Any comments or questions? Concerns?
Just one quick comment. This is limited to residents only, so the gentleman who owns the property over to ICX, and you mentioned his name, escapes me right now, but he owns that property over there, and yet he's always participating and stuff like that. So my understanding, he's not eligible for any of these stipends, yet he's always being consulted for his input, obviously because of the size of the real estate that he owns over there. But well, I would think just because he owns real estate and he's not he's not a resident, I think he should be eligible as well. I don't think he needs the money, but it's the principle behind it.
Yeah,
Only residents are eligible.
yeah, only residents are eligible. I think that was the decision reached.
It really comes out of the conversations as well, just of, how residents, as much as we're asking from residents who don't have those types of connections with sort of businesses or institutions, that, that was part of the reasoning. I don't see any more comments. Okay, so it will begin in
It'll begin
July.
in July.
All right.
Yep. And thank you, and we're happy to be able to do this, and just thank you for giving your time on a monthly basis to join us on the and provide input, which is so incredibly valuable and important as we move forward in this process. So and I'm hopeful that maybe other organizations or institutions might also recognize the importance of community, volunteering their time and also be able to provide stipends for their programs and projects as well.
Okay, once again, we're finishing a little bit early, 10 more minutes of your life given back to you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And we'll look forward to seeing you at the next meeting in July.
Yeah, great. Thank you all. Have a wonderful
Thank you,
evening.
everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I just sent that chat, Catherine. You can see it there,
Yeah,
but I don't think it captures it.
it did.
We
Hey,
got it.
We can discuss it further. I'm not sure that, I'm not sure what the list was, and she may be gone. I'm not sure what the list was with a few folks on it that Angela was highlighting, but definitely one-on-ones can be a little divisive if they aren't in the context of full inclusion. But I think that that's the starting list. The list, I can't remember who listed, if it was Steve or Anthony or who it was. I think that is a respectable initial list of, I think the goal is to build it out. So let's, I just don't want to discourage anybody, including folks that are around. Anyway.
Yeah, I think
that.
sending names is really helpful. Good point, AE, and I think sending names to Anthony would be really helpful.
yeah, Steve and I are happy to, I'm putting Steve on the spot, but we're happy to have one-on-one conversations at any point in time. And again, this is just the sort of the beginning. More to follow, but if you have individuals.
I'm sorry, Anthony, I really want to be clear. I'm not encouraging a massive exponential increase of one-on-ones. What I'm saying is we can directly invite people to become involved in the process as it opens up. This one-on-one tradition that is of long standing in the Denver's approach is not what necessarily brings the neighborhood constituents together. Oftentimes it becomes factional. But what I'm saying is let's build out the engagement in the conversation so we're all more directly involved, networked in with each other.
Yeah.
By the way, that's all.
Yeah, what I may not have shared, AE, is based on the conversation with Sandra and Caroline, they are going to invite community to a small group conversation. It isn't, Steve's going to present what he shared tonight at that small group gatherings, but Anna or Caroline, Nwca, and Sandra are going to be inviting community. Jules and Jim Garcia, they're going to be inviting community-based organizations and nonprofit organizations to a small group gathering. So it's other community members that are extending an invitation to learn what's happening with the design and the community space.
So as icing on that cake, what I'm really trying to say is anybody and everybody can initiate small group
Oh,
meetings.
absolutely. Yeah,
And that it's
absolutely.
really critical that be, even with each other and following up with what goes on with ones that exist, it's really critical that people step up for that. It completes the process. So.
Great.
Good comment.
Extensively.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, A. Understood.
Thanks, everybody.
Good.
You're welcome.